So let's start with origami. Origami is an ancient Japanese craft. It is thought that the Chinese brought the art of paper folding to Japan around the 6th century. So that tells you how old it is. I think it's the oldest craft. It is become basically ubiquitous to Japanese culture. You don't go any place in Japan without seeing origami. It's everywhere. It's in packaging, it's in grocery stores, it's everywhere. You know, you check into a hotel and there'll be a little piece of origami folded for you on your table. The paper itself, however, is also different. And it is not just a piece of copier paper printed. And a lot of people misconstrue that. And there's a lot of really horrible origami available online and every place else like that. Origami is a base paper. It's made from a base paper that is made in a Japanese style. Just to cut to the chase, the fibers are longer and they're interwoven. So that's what allows origami paper to be folded in so many different ways. And it also gives its stability, its ability to be folded and unfolded. It can be glued, it can be printed on. It is a great base stock. And then what they do is they print the colors or the patterns on top of it and then cut it into perfect squares. Much origami that's on the market that's, you know, either not ours or our direct competitor is not origami paper. It's not made in Japan. So they're using short fibers. They're all lined up in one way, which means that it doesn't fold like origami paper does. And it's too thick. And sometimes it's not even square. And it's very difficult to fold with the directions if you don't have a perfectly square piece of paper. So that kind of gives you hopefully some selling points to why origami is different. Now, yes, you can fold, see? I mean, actually, you have this. I'll get it a little closer. You have something that looks like that, okay? And basically, yours is still folded up. But if you take your finger, I don't know if I can undo this. You take your finger and push it in the middle and flatten it out around these folds, you'll get a pretty little box, which you can use to put your daily allocation of sweets or put something nice in it, you know, to leave for a coworker when you see that, or use it as a party favor or something like that. The other thing that you have is this folded heart. And I folded this heart for you. These are something that I do. So when I go someplace, I have these in my purse and I'll write a word on the back of it, you know, like thank you, or you're not alone, or whatever. And if I go for a walk or if I go someplace, I'll just leave this, you know, there for somebody to find it and hopefully give them some power and some strength. And that's what's so great about origami. For crafters, origami is wonderful because number one, it is the cheapest craft to do. The only thing you need is the paper and your fingers. There are so many directions online. There's tons and tons of YouTube videos. There's websites dedicated to just showing diagrams. Anyone can do it if they take their time, okay? But you only need the paper and your fingers. It's a great craft for young people. Most children in the United States have an origami experience between K and 6, so they're very, very familiar with it. They folded an airplane, they've made a balloon, they've folded a crane, they've done something with folded paper. But we kind of lose track of that. The other thing that's really great about origami is you can stamp on it with a rubber stamp, you can jelly print on it, you can put it through a die cutter, so you can cut it into any shape. It will accept glue, so you can lay it down. It gets a little wrinkly when it's wet, but when it dries, it goes completely flat. So you can use it for collage, decoupage, card making, all different kinds of things. Hello, kitten. And so it's a great paper. And you know as well as I do that crafters out there, especially paper crafters, for them, it's about colors and patterns. They want a wide variety. And origami offers that in a very economical little pack. So basically you have some different types of origami. You have what is called, for lack of a better word, kami paper, and it's Kami. Kami paper looks like this, and it's basically that colored paper, white on one side, colors on the other. Our regular packs, the OG4, the MOG4, have 16 different colors in them. There's 100 sheets in a pack, includes a sheet of gold and a sheet of silver, but that's basically what they're getting. And we've got it in so many different sizes, from the tiniest one, which is 1 inch and 5/8, all the way up to 12 inches. Now they're basically standard. So there's 3 inch, 4.5 inch, 5 7/8 inch, 7 inch, 9 3/4, and 12. Those are basically US equivalents to what they are in the metric system. So you'll see a lot of metric numbers on origami paper because they use the metric system. So anything that's plain is just our basic packs, and those will be your most popular ones because that's what people know the most. That's what they were introduced to in in elementary school. We also have packs that have wonderful, wonderful patterns in them, and a lot of these are called chiogami. So chiogami patterns are patterns like this. Well, this one has 40 patterns in it, but a lot of these, this is all considered chiogami. They're traditional Japanese patterns. Most of them come or are influenced by kimonos. That's very common in Japan. They are multicolored, and generally what you will get is at least 4, even in the small packs that only have 24 sheets of paper, you'll get anywhere from 4 to 8 different patterns inside every pack. Some of the packs, like the KM2, you'll actually get 4 patterns, but each pattern comes in multiple colorways. So you'll get the same pattern in blue, red, and green. And you get another pattern in brown, yellow, and I don't know, green. Those kinds of things. So it makes it really, really easy. We also have foil paper, which I'm sure you guys are familiar with. Our foils, and I'll pull one, are real, crafters, paper crafters, artists love foil. This is one of our new copper ones. So generally, you'll only see in origami gold and silver, but this is copper. The copper is really, really cool because nobody's seen it. It's brand new. But the foil does fold really, really simply. It gives you a really elegant look. It's very, very pretty. The most popular ones are the 3-inch foils. The reason is that in Japanese, Asian, Hawaiian culture, they fold those into cranes for weddings, anniversaries, and things like that. So doing 1,000 cranes in gold foil is pretty typical for a Hawaiian or an Asian wedding. The last ones, which are my favorites, are called yuzen or yuzenshi. These are a different kind of paper than what you will experience through the chiogami or the kami papers. This paper is a thicker paper, but it also has a hand screen printed artwork for the pattern. So each one of these papers comes from a larger sheet that is hand screen printed. Yeah, can you believe that? And they're beautiful. Now, if you look in your packet that I sent you, you'll notice on the front that there is a label on it, and it takes you through each one of those different kinds of origamis. I gave you some of the most popular ones so that you can actually touch it, feel it, and look at it. It's only one sheet. It's not a full pack. And what I gave you was a sampling so that you have that at your fingertips. So when somebody says, well, how thick is it? You can go and feel it. And then you can refer back. If you keep them in that order, you'll always know what order they are. So the item number 1 is the first item on the top, 2, 3, 4, and I think it goes down to 12.
Hey, Beth, speaking of thickness, can you get a thickness on the foil papers?
The foil papers are also about the same thickness as the regular kami paper. People ask me that all the time, and unfortunately, the Japanese don't weigh paper like we do in the US and America. But it comes out to about 17 grams per square meter. So that's the European version. It's thinner than a piece of copier paper, or right about. So if you want to use that as an example point, you can say it's a little bit thinner than a sheet of copy paper, which is generally 20 pound. And it's so confusing because the weight of paper is based on the basis weight. In the United States, whatever that master sheet is, 100 sheets of that is 20 pound. So you can get 20-pound paper that is completely different because you're comparing copier paper to drawing paper. So it's good to tell them it's about the thickness of copier paper.
Is the foil paper harder to work with?
Huh?
Is the foil paper harder to work with?
It is more precise. So if you fold a piece of regular origami, you can kind of cheat and go, oh my gosh, I folded it the wrong way. And you actually have some folds that I have an oops in them, and you won't notice it. In the foil, because you bend the foil, that fold really stays there quite strongly. However, you can work around it. In some ways, I love working with the foil to fold it, because in some ways it's so much easier because you can see that crease. Mm. Were there any other questions?
Not that I see currently.
Okay, the other thing about the Yuzen paper is there's a lot of gold and silver mica in those papers. So if you've got a customer that really likes shiny and sparkly, they're going to love the Yuzenshi papers. And tell them, because there's sometimes only 4 sheets in it. But that's because that paper is so, so, so special. It's hand printed. It's not machine printed. It's hand printed. They're buying literally handmade paper. But it folds wonderfully. And oh my gosh, does it collage beautifully. So this, for instance, this is a little painting that I did. Okay. This is done with the Azome pack, which I believe you guys have. You can do it with any of them. So it's all of the Yuzenshi that's in that blue and white pack, torn up, glued, and then I painted on top of it. And you're able to do that very, very easily with that paper. So you can collage with it, you can decoupage with it, you can use it as a full sheet if you want to, you can tear it. It's not as easy, it will tear. It will tear actually pretty simply, but it's not like tearing a piece of copier paper. Piece of copier paper, it's torn. With all of this other paper, you've got to kind of work at it a little bit. But it loves acrylic and it loves glue, that Yuzenshi paper. Okay, just so you know, Aitoh carries more SKUs of origami than anybody in the United States, and I actually think more than anybody in the world. We have more than 250 SKUs. And Notions is wonderful because they carry the largest assortment that we have. They carry all of our most popular ones. There's esoteric ones in here, believe me, that are really, really great for serious folders, but aren't great for just, for most people. But you're pulling from a wide, wide, wide assortment. I don't know if you can see all of this over here, plus this spinner rack here. So there's that. We also have kits. I know you guys do a large amount of business in our kits. So we do have the big box kits. They're one of your best sellers. So do use those. And I believe you carry more than just one. They're really wonderful because the directions are in there. There's lots of paper in there. And it really does get somebody started on origami. Or they can just use the paper for whatever. We have a new kit coming out. Yeah, I'm going to show it to you. This is our newest kit. Okay, it's going to come in a tube instead of a box. It's called the Paper Nookbook. And what it is a little booklet. Well, here, let me show it to you. This is what your customer will make. Isn't that beautiful?
We had one more quick question. We had a
Sure.
question about wetting the paper and if
Uh-huh.
that helps.
Oh, to tear it?
Yeah.
Yeah, sure you can. You don't need to. And when I say it's hard, it's not that hard. It's just not, and because the fibers are all mishmashed in there, you'll get these beautiful waves in it. So yeah, but you don't need to. You can, but you don't need to. Okay. So this is the paper notebook. Look inside. Can you see it? And then what happens is each one of these 8 are a little pocket, a little container. So you have 8 there. Then you open it up again. I get my fingers around it. My fingers don't work so good anymore. And there's another pocket. Can you see it? And there's 4 of those. Then those open up into this pocket.
Wow.
And then it opens up into this pocket. Isn't that great? What do you guys think? It's so beautiful. It's made with Japanese Yuzenshi paper as well as paper from Nepal, lock-top paper. So it's very sturdy. In the kit, you have everything you need. All of the sheets are pre-cut to the right sizes. You'll notice this is good for retailers. There's a QR code on the label. This allows the consumer to take and capture that QR code on their smartphone, and it takes them to a little video of the final project in an opening. So you see somebody do it a lot better than I did, to show them what the project will look like. Inside the directions also have a URL and a QR code so that you can go to the website if you're not really good at folding, and you can follow an online step-by-step tutorial. So it is very easy, very simple to do. They can watch it over and over again. You don't need anything else. The contents of the kits and your fingers. That's all you need. The retail on this is $18.95. We've had humongous interest in this. It is due out in the next 3 to 4 weeks. I think it's going to be a great holiday item. This is something that a paper crafter will want to put photographs in. You could turn it into a photo album and put a photo in each one of those 15 little pockets. They could use it for flat embellishments. They could use it for notes, keepsakes, jewelry, thread, whatever they wanted to use. Okay, what do you guys think? I got 1 thumbs up. Yay. It is really beautiful. The other really cool thing about it is it mentions 2 things. Because obviously when you buy a kit, you know, there's only enough paper in there to make one kit, but it gives them the dimensions of the pieces of paper so they can go back to the store to get more paper and make another one in their colors.
That's great.
Colors. The other thing it mentions, and this is the next thing I wanted to go into, is our bamboo paper tool. Okay, this comes in 2 sizes. It's carded. I know you can't see it over here, so I'll pull one. Here's the large one. Here's the small one. These are amazing tools. So they're based on a bone folder. Bone folders are notoriously, they're made from bone. Don't kid yourself. They are made from bone, but they have been used for a long, long, long time. You each got one in your kit. If you've never used a bone folder, I'm shocked. I'm just shocked. Bone folders are great for a lot of different things. If you have card makers, so here's a piece of watercolor paper, right? And I'm just gonna, I don't know if you can see it. So I'm gonna use my bone folder, and normally I would do it, and I just press it along the paper, and if you look closely, you get a little dent. That's called, okay, a score. Then I can fold it right along that edge, really, really simply. And then I can use my bone folder to make the crease super, super great. Does that make sense?
Does that help you with tearing as well?
Yeah, absolutely. Because you can fold it and tear it. Bamboo paper tools, so the benefit of them is they are about less than half the price of bone. They're vegan friendly because they're made of bamboo. They're eco-friendly because bamboo is a renewable resource, okay? And they're good for everybody. Anybody, you know, if you've got somebody that has an invitation store, they're going to want one of these, because the last thing you want to do is, for a bridal invitation, have the bride using the back of her fingernail when she's got polish on it, and all of a sudden she's got a nice red streak on her bright white invitations. That's what this is for, to make those creases. If you're folding a card, if you're folding a letter, if you're folding a piece of paper, if you've got to score it, no matter what, it is so handy. And the retail on the small one is $3.75. The large one's $4.50. So they're very, very, very affordable. Okay, it is fast becoming our #1 bestseller. Not only that, as opposed to the plastic one, it doesn't make that icky sound when you rub it across paper. And #2, a lot of times with bamboo folders, the more you use them, they end up breaking right at the tip. If it's bone, you got to throw it away and you have to buy another $9 bone folder. With these, because it's bamboo, you can just sand it. And if you want, you can sand this. So if you want to make one edge really, really sharp, if you're scoring cardstock, something really thick, and you want a nice, clean, deep, don't make it too sharp, it'll cut through paper, deep score, you can have one dull and one sharp, one regular. They are absolutely wonderful. This is an instant add-on to any of your sales. If you're selling a customer paper, whether it's Aitoh paper, whether it's scrapbook paper, whatever, they fold. They fold that paper. And honestly, the other thing I do with it, I use it when I'm decoupaging to press the paper down. So it's a great tool for glue. And again, the added benefit is if you get a little glue on it, you just sand it off and it's all back to normal. Okay? So think of this. This should be on your desk all the time as a reminder for you to add it onto a sale. All right? The other thing, the stroke paper. You guys got a piece of blue, red, or green paper on some white paper. That is stroke paper. If you've never used it before, yes. So that is stroke paper. If you've never used it before, basically what it is if you get it wet, it gets dark. Okay? And then after 3 minutes, it'll go away. You only use water with it. And the reason is it's great for lettering people that are doing brush lettering. If they're doing strokes and toll painting, they can practice their strokes just with their brush and water. If they're learning to write, or if they want to practice even just regular writing, they can just use a stiff brush or something like that. If you make a mark on it, wet, in 3 minutes it'll dry. So in the pack, you get 2 sheets. I believe it's $4.75. And you get a sheet that's twice the size of the sample you guys have. But it's really, really great. So if you're calling on anybody that is selling craft paint, those people need to practice their strokes. They're always looking at strokes. So it's great. If they've never used a liner before and you sell them a liner, you'll be able to, add this in and say, hey, if you want to practice with your liner, just use water. Don't use ink, don't use acrylic, don't use watercolor, just water. And they can practice their strokes for as long as they want. Okay? Oh, I forgot something. This is a drill punch. Now this is a renewed tool. So we used to have this a long time ago, about 4 or 5 years ago. It is so awesome. I love this tool. So the problem is with most crafters, especially card makers. So here's a little card project, right? And if you look, this is the way I bound your notebook. You want a hole in the middle, right here, right? So that you can add more paper or put a ribbon on it or whatever. The problem is most punches don't reach there, right? So how do you get a perfect hole? You can't. Okay, that's what this is for. So, because you can't see me, I'm going to try and do it from here. All right, can you see this? And you just press, and there's your hole. Of course, it would be better if I was on a flat surface, so let me try it again. Yeah, can you see that you get a nice, clean hole? Isn't that a perfect hole?
That was really easy.
Yeah, and it's very easy. Anybody can do it. If you notice, once I put it down on the thing, you know, I can cut all the way through it. The other really cool thing is that the handle is sold and then the bits are sold separately. They're very easy. You just unscrew it, take the bit out, put the bit back in, and I'm losing little dots, and you just put that together. So if you've got anybody that you're selling to that does card making or anything else like that, this is the perfect tool. I love this tool. For all of my books that I do, you know, like books like this, all of these have to be punched. And that's what I use for that, to be able to get the holes so that I can go ahead and bind my book. It is a great tool. And sometimes people just want to put a hole, like for instance, on this little box here. By the way, this is origami paper. This is the USPA origami paper glued onto a box. See? Okay, but I wanted to put a little bead on the top. How do I get a hole right in the middle? Well, I could go ahead and I could stick a needle in there and try and figure it all out, or I could just use my hole punch, just turn the top upside down, bang, perfect hole. I can spread my bead, tie it at the bottom, and it's all done. Okay, it is a great, great, great tool. When it was available a few years ago, it was one of Aitoh's best sellers, and it's fast becoming one of our best sellers as well. Okay, it does have a Prop 65 label on it because this is brass. It has a tiny, 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 brass has lead. So it has a tiny, but I don't think anybody's going to be chewing on this. The other thing that we have, and I don't know that I do, that you guys brought in are bamboo pens. Now, bamboo pens are just about on every university drawing list. We have them in 4 sizes. I gave you, I believe, a medium or a small. They're so nice. If somebody wants to practice writing, people don't know how great bamboo pens are. Normally, what you have to do is you have to buy a calligraphy set, or you buy a handle and a bunch of nibs, This you can get, I think the biggest one, which is this is the jumbo, is $5.50. The small ones are like $3.75 or less. And you can just either fill the well here, or you dip it in and you can write with it. And it's just that simple. So it'll take any ink, any liquid acrylic, you know, any of your really thin liquid, you know, acrylics, ink, watercolor, anything like that. So if you're doing a watercolor and you don't like a liner, you can use a bamboo pen instead. Okay, we're moving along. The other thing is on the back, that white paper that you guys got, that is sumi paper. So you sell sumi pads. They look like this. These are great papers for ink and watercolor. They're made for those things. They're made for sumi ink. So the art of sumi in Japan is just brush. You know, if you look it up, you can look up sumi paintings and they'll show you thousands and thousands and thousands of images. But artists here in America like it because you can do black and white stuff. Black ink is so popular right now. Most of my stores cannot keep black ink in stock. This paper is wonderful because it's very absorbent. It'll work with the marbling kit. So keep that in the back of your mind. And you can use not just sumi ink, you can use any ink on it, any watercolor. It's very thin. You're going to want to tape it down if you're doing watercolor. The paper is very, very strong. But the other thing is it makes a good collage paper. So if you're doing a collage that you want to glue onto a 3-dimensional surface, this is a great paper to start on. You can work out your designs. The paper is Japanese made, so it's very, very strong, very thin. I gave you some so you could feel it. It has a very a really nice hand to it, a tooth to it. So you can draw on it, but it's a little thin to draw on. But I know people that do. The other thing is our Sumi ink. Again, Sumi ink, black ink right now is really, really, really popular. We have two different kinds, AP non-toxic, and this carries it's basically AP non-toxic, but it's got Prop 65 label on it. This one's about half the price of this one, okay? These are student grade. They're still very, very black. These are wonderful, wonderful alternatives to some of the other black inks that are out there that are twice the price, and they're not as black as these inks. That's the thing about Sumi ink. It's very, very, very black. Super, super black. So a lot of people prefer this over the big name brand inks. Okay. Not only that, when it waters down easily. So if you want a gray, different shades of gray, that kind of thing, it's a wonderful ink to do that. You can just thin it down until you get these beautiful, beautiful grays. Okay. How are we doing? Any questions?
I think we're doing good so far. A lot of nice comments. We had a comment here that says we love a multi-use product. We have all the different SKUs, so I think everybody's up to date and yes, doing well.
Okay, I also want to remind you about our marbling kit. This is a top seller in the school market, homeschooling, anything like that. We have a lot of online retailers selling this. It's non-toxic, so it's good for kids. It has all the ink in it, and you don't need alum, you don't need anything. They just put together their pan of water, add their ink. You can put any paper, any natural fabric, cotton and silk. Don't use polyester. It'll go on wood. It'll pick up anything, but it is Suminagashi marbling. So it's that softer marbling as opposed to what you see with the oil-based marbling in more Western cultures in Europe, coming out of Italy and France. Okay, but this is a great, great kit for homeschoolers, that kind of thing. So be aware of that. And you can use that Sumi paper. It's not, you can use regular copy paper with that. You just put the copier paper down and it pulls the ink up. Okay. The other thing, we introduced this, Jill brought this line on a while ago, and we've done really well. You have in your packs, some markers, and you go, oh, not more markers. Markers are great, but these are ours. Now, I am not in the marker business. There's some great marker companies out there. But when I saw this, I went crazy. The colors are so bright. This is on black, one stroke. And look at how opaque all of those colors are and how shiny they are. Okay, especially the white. Crafters are constantly looking for white fine line markers. This is the guy. This is the guy. Okay, I've not seen a marker that's as good as this. So I was showing them. I haven't used these markers since March. This is what I really love about it. And so when we were just getting ready for this, so I opened this up and I just started writing with it. March, I haven't used it since March. Most paint pens, most opaque markers, it goofed a little bit, but probably for me overdoing it. But look at that nib. Can you see how, wow, where am I? There it is. Can you see how small that tip is? It's a very, very, very nice fine line. It doesn't mush. This is the only paint marker I've ever used that I was able to get every last drop of ink out of it. Because usually what happens is either the nib gets all mushy or it gets clogged and I can't use it.
Do you have to store it a specific way?
Nope, you can store it this way, you can store it like this, you can store it like that. I recommend like this.
Nib side up.
Yep. You have one. You each have one of these. You'll notice the directions are in Japanese. Sorry about that. But there's pictograms. So all you do is you open it, depress it, put the cap back on, shake, get it started, and it works. And the gold, the silver, the copper are unbelievable. The black is super, super black. It's still a reasonable price. It's certainly less than a Copic marker. It will work on glass, it'll work on plastic, it'll work on wood, it'll work on paper. It works on just about everything. I do notice that on some plastics it will peel off, but on glass it sticks. Okay, so that's that one. The other one that we have is called a Menso marker. That's the name from the factory. Okay, these are real brushes. Where's my little card that I was using? These are real brushes. So what you'll notice on this, and again, this is why I got this. Where is it? There. The nib on this is so long and sharp. And it is a real brush. It has real fibers in it. It's not plastic. So you can make the finest of lines. You can really push it down. And when you push it down, you'll notice the fibers. It's like a liner. It's the length out of a liner, but it's super, super fine. This is full of ink, absolutely chock-a-block full of ink. The other thing though, this is a favorite for anime and manga artists. If you've got anybody that asks you if you have any manga supplies, recommend these. There are 5 colors. There's black. I don't know where my black went. Probably used it for something. There's black, navy, sepia, champagne gold, and white. The white is not as opaque as the other manga liner, but this one is really beautiful. For brush letterers, they're great because they can just go and go and go, and the black will probably be your best seller. So you're basically getting a very, very good long liner and a bottle of ink all in one. And it's just like a water brush. As a matter of fact, if they're not sure, you can have them buy just the water brush. This is the water brush version, and this will be easier for me to show you guys. Let me see. There it is. Can you see? Can you see how that? And you can take yours out. I think I gave you all hockey brushes, but this is so hard. Anyways, let me put my hand. Can you see how that brush just? It is a brush. Okay. When you start the markers, there's a little yellow collar. You take the yellow collar out, shake it up, and then just start pressing just like you would with a water brush. The one I gave you is called the hake brush, and it is like a blunt-edged round or a stencil brush. It's great for stenciling, especially if you're stenciling with watercolor. Dry brush, blending, all of those kinds of things. You can put just water in it. You can put ink in it. Doesn't matter. And then what you do is you just take this part out, pop this cap out, rinse it out, clean it out, fill it up with your next favorite ink. You guys are familiar with water brushes though, right? These are, I didn't bring in regular ones. I brought in different ones. Okay, I know we're running out of time. So I need to get going. I already showed you the paper notebook. These are our 3 new origami. Okay, and you did get a sheet of this. It's the last, I believe it's the last sheet in your pack. This is called birei, B-I-R-E-I. It is the Japanese word for beautiful. This paper is amazing. The reason it is so amazing is so here it is. It's the same color on one side. It's the same color on the other side. And if I tear it, the core is the same. So it's a solid core paper. It has 2 different textures. There's more of a woven finish and a smooth finish on there. Okay. Beret paper is a tiny bit thicker than regular origami paper, but it folds exquisitely. It folds wonderfully, see? So this is a little modular. The reason that you guys should love this paper is your M100C, which is one of your more popular papers, is a pack of 100 colors. This comes, the B100C comes 100 colors, 100 sheets. So if somebody's ordered the M100C, this would be a natural thing for them to add in because it's double-sided and it's solid core. But the cool thing about this paper, it loves rubber stamps. It loves jelly prints. You can draw on it. You can letter on it. You can do everything. It is like a paper crafter's perfect paper because you can do so many other things with it. And it's 100 colors. Crafters love colors. So it's available in the standard size and also in the 3-inch. And we also have it in 20 colors, 5 sheets each. So if somebody wants some multiples, this for my origami community is the best-selling pack. But I think for paper crafters, they're going to prefer the 100 colors. Okay. The other thing I gave you in your pack that I wanted to show you, that I wanted to share with you, because sometimes things get lost. So these are new origamis. So you've got pictures of them to refer to. Some of these Jill brought in late last year. So you can look at them, you can follow what the number is, 23, 2189. You can go look it up. It'll tell you how many sheets are in it. Well, actually, this does too, 28 sheets, 4 styles. Okay. There's the little 1 5/8 inch. It's so cute. Our OG4, that's the wrong, it has, I grabbed the wrong picture. Everybody's got to make a mistake. It has this cover on it, not this funky rabbit head cover. Has that. The KM1 and the KM2, which are 2 of our most popular patterns. So this gets back to the Chiagami. This is that pack I was telling you about that has 8 different patterns in it. And there are actually 4 patterns, 2 colorways each. This size is a smaller one. The KM2 is a standard size. They're both some of our best sellers. And you can look through this. The other thing that we've got coming, you guys sell quite a bit of the plain colors. Jill's looking at adding pink, blue, white, and purple. Also 3-inch of your red, blue, black, and white. She's thinking about the coppers, so you've got to give her some feedback on these, the black and white, the checkerboards. Checkerboards are really hot. These 2 Chiagami ones, this and this. This, so frustrated. I ordered these. It's really expensive, but people love it. It comes in a box. There's 200 sheets in it, 40 different patterns. And they sent me cases of the wrong thing. So I have to reorder it. Those are the new origami. Okay, now I want to take you through full sheet decorative paper. In your package, you got some swatch books, some little paper swatches. Y'all know what those are? The average, when I did Creativation, what was Creativation? Yes, Alan's got the right thing up. When I did Creativation, I was contacted by so many different paper crafting stores in regards to full sheet Japanese papers. Okay, I'm going to turn you around so that you can see this. Don't get dizzy, anybody. Okay, this is what they're talking about. Okay. All right. Full sheet Japanese papers. We have over 200 styles of Japanese papers. These are all Uzenshi, well, most Uzenshi papers. They are hand screen printed. They are absolutely exquisite. People want full sheet paper. They're working bigger. And Jill told me you added some new paper crafting kits that are really, really big, to make really big thing. That's what we're talking about. I believe paper crafters want to work bigger. And they're tired of cardstock. So for instance, here's some paper. This is all used end sheet paper in a wooden box.
Do the dimensions on the papers vary, or are they all the same size?
They're pretty similar, but some of them, like for instance, these up here and these are 30 by 40, okay? Most of these down here are 19 by 24, 18 and 3/4 by 25, in that general range, okay? It's a great opportunity for your brick and mortar, maybe even some of your online shops, because I've got tons of online shops that sell paper. No, but I talk to paper crafters all the time. That kind of call me up and say, "Oh, I just love you. Where can I get these papers?" And it's like, or I've been using this origami paper. Do you have it in 13 by 13? And it's like, no, we don't carry a 13 by 13 pack. Just buy paper and cut it. Where do you find paper like that? It's like in an art supply store, and I send them a few places, and they call me back and say, "Oh my gosh, you just opened up an entire new world for me. I can do all new kinds of things that I've never been able to do before," like this. But one of the things that everybody had mentioned to me, and it came up, how do I display them? I'm a retailer. I've never worked with big paper. I've got all these 12 by 12 racks and 8.5 by 11 racks. How do I display it? So if you look on this paper, it's on the last piece I gave you, the proposed new dropship program, and then I'll go over that. I'll go over the Nepali papers as well. I'm giving you ideas for you to share with your retailers as to how they can display them. Because it's important. I see you, Kara. I see you. You've got to know how to display them. Some people have these flat files. They're perfect there. I don't like it because then they have to cut a sheet. Here's another one where they've actually used an old My Tans rack, okay, from Canson to put their papers in. Because most of these papers will fit. They're 19 by 24. They'll fit in those racks, with the Strathmore, the My Tans, all of those, drawing papers. Here's somebody who made their own racks. If you've got a nice handy dandy carpenter living with you, you can make your own racks. However, and then there's also the ladder racks, which you can find online. It's just two pieces, 2 by 3s, or 1 by 3s with dowels in it, and you hang the sheets over. But the simplest and the easiest way is using hangers. It works. It really does. A retailer came up with this idea quite a few years ago, and he fit, now it's an art supply store. He went to a used fixture show, got one of those t-shirt racks like you see at Target. He's able to put 200 styles of paper on that rack. Let me show you. See, it's just a hanger, like we all know. It's a little piece of chipboard, right? Folded in half. That way it keeps the paper really flat. And you can buy t-shirt t-shirt pegs that you can either use on slat wall or pegboard, and you can just hang it. That's what that first picture is. Or if you want to, you can go down to the Container Store or online someplace and buy a portable clothing rack, which is what the last picture is. It costs $40, and you could probably hang 50 styles of paper there. And you put all of the same on one. You can do two. You could do a different paper, here, one here, one here. You've got a place to put your code. We UPC all the paper, so they've got the UPC codes, but they can put their pricing on one side of the hanger with a tag, or the other. So I'm hoping I've given you all that you need to share with your customers. And I'm thinking that this could be a real game changer. The paper will be shipped in a tube. It rolls, but it has no memory. So once they get it, they just hang it and the curves will go right out of it. But I think they might really excite their customers. The other thing is I have a retailer. She carries full sheet paper like this, but she also sells half sheets. So if somebody goes, oh, I really love that paper, but I don't want to pay that price for it, she'll cut it in half for them. Most of your paper stores have something to cut with. They can just cut it in half and sell a half sheet or a quarter sheet. I wouldn't go less than a quarter sheet. I don't even know that I would go a quarter sheet. But, you know, because this is a big change from a 12 by 12. But there are so many possibilities. You could do lampshades. You know, you could do furniture. You could decoupage furniture. You saw boxes. You know, there's just so much you could do. And a lot of paper crafters are now interested in bookbinding, and they need the paper to cover the Davy board or whatever trash board you've got. They need bigger sheets. The 12 by 12s won't work. And this is Japanese paper. It likes glue. Cardstock doesn't like to fold. Cardstock doesn't like glue. Not to be glued onto a surface. This does. The other papers that we have, I don't know, maybe I can just spin you a little bit while you have them in your thing, are the Nepalese lock-top papers. Paper has been made in Nepal for 15 centuries, okay? This is the same paper. It's been used by Buddhist monks to write all of their sacred writings on for centuries, and it's still alive, and the paper still is lovely. So it's a traditional methodology for making paper. It's a little more rustic than the Japanese paper. You know, the Japanese are very refined, okay? The Nepalese are a little rough and ready. They go up, they harvest these bushes up in the Himalayas, okay? They bring them back, they pound it into pulp, mix it with water, pour it out, they make a sheet. What's so beautiful, though, is that all of those sheets have 4 decal edges. They're gorgeous. So I gave you a nice selection of colors. They're color all the way through on the dyed ones. There's some pretty pinto ones, which look kind of marbly, a couple of textures, and some printed ones. But I think you'll like them. And those are a lot less expensive. Their average retail is about $4 as opposed to 10 for the Japanese papers. And they will fit in those large paper racks from Canson, Strathmore, et cetera, et cetera. And there's a lot of small retailers, art materials retailers as well, that carry decorative paper. This is an opportunity for them to get a great deal, the same price they would get from me, okay? And be able to get a smaller amount and add on to their order that they're already placing with you. If it's an online store, they just have to, the trick with online stores is UPS has now put a premium on tubes. So for instance, we put everything around a tube and then ship it in a box. Tell them to go with their UPS or their FedEx dealer and get the triangular boxes. They're free. Go ahead and roll the paper in it, put in the triangular box, send it to their customers. It works. Because most customers, most retail consumers want 3, 4, half a dozen sheets. They'll roll up into one of those FedEx UPS tubes. They're not tubes, they're triangular boxes, but they don't charge you for the boxes. So that's the gouge on that one. That's the trick on that one. Okay. Oh my God, I'm done. I finished.
Team, did we have any other questions?
I don't know how you guys work, but if you have questions, you know who your supervisors are. You know Jill, you know Laura. They can send me an email. I'm happy to answer questions. However way you work, just know that I wish I was there because we would be folding things and making things, and maybe when I come up, we can all do something fun like that. I wish you the best of luck. Thank you so much for all that you've done for Aitoh. We absolutely love Notions. And I just wanted to make sure that you had what you needed.
We love you as well, and we really appreciate you speaking to us today.
Jill,
Yes.
we'll talk soon, yes?
Thank you so much. You did a beautiful job.
Thank you.
Well,
Thank you,
for your
guys.
time.
Bye, Tom.
Thanks, Beth.
Thank you.
Beth.
Bye.